Cue intro music.
Huh?
Cue the intro music.
Yeah, I will. Let's do it. Let me think of a joke. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, you ready? Okay. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Us with the Playback Podcast, episode 16. Shit. There you go. I like that. Let that ride out. Shut that shit off. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Playback Podcast. My name is Noah. I'm joined here with Hauder Al-Naim.
Why'd you use the full government?
Speak a little louder.
So why'd you use the full government?
I don't know. I just I felt like it today. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Just watched it finally.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit was so hard. I got no spoilers. So this is one of the first times I've ever not watched a movie and not gotten spoiled for me.
That's good, especially because it's Monday, which is the day that we record our podcast, and you can find our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also find it on YouTube. We are back to video, so that's going to be on YouTube now. And make sure you guys subscribe to that so you guys never miss another episode. Obviously, we're going to be talking about one of, I think, in my opinion, spoiler alert, probably the best movie of the year. My favorite movie of the year, I think, right now. It's pretty solidified. And we're going to be talking about that in non-spoiler fashion and in spoiler fashion. So make sure you guys go watch the movie if you haven't already, and then come back to this. And then we're going to be talking about some movie news like we usually do. So anything you want to say before we hop right in?
Nope. Let's get straight into this.
Okay, so Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse came out this weekend, and I got the chance to see it twice. I was pretty vocal about what I thought about it on our Instagram. You can go follow us. It's going to be linked down below in the description. But Hauder has not seen it yet until about 2 hours ago or something like that.
I mean,
you just got
the movie
out of it.
less than an hour ago.
Yeah, so I want to get into what you thought of the movie. Hauder, what did you think of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
Let's do this without spoilers first.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this is what they did for good in the first movie, but in my opinion, it took a way bigger jump. Animation. Mm-hmm. It was so many different styles. They jumped from live to, sorry, spoiler. Damn. They jumped through a lot of shit with the animation. It was just really cool to see, especially because they mix a lot of it. Surprisingly, the soundtrack was a little bit weaker than the first movie, but the score was way better.
Okay.
All the little sound effects, the time to play the correct instrumentals, when to raise the volume and when to lower the volume was good too. I'm just thinking.
I've heard that the sound mix for certain theaters were a little bit off, because we have at our theater that we go to is the Dolby Atmos theater, and apparently the story goes is that Dolby Atmos sound mix for this movie was off a little bit. That's why in the beginning, when you try to hear the intro music, the music is so loud that some people couldn't hear Gwen Stacy's monologue, and Spider-Punk's volume was a little bit off. To me, I didn't really get a lot of that. But yeah, okay, so you were fine with it?
In the beginning, I could see what they were saying, but I could still hear her. I just had to listen.
Yeah, listen pretty hard.
Yeah.
Other people who have watched the IMAX stuff with different sound systems, they were fine, I guess. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're going to watch this movie.
Yeah, I didn't really have that big of an issue with the volume. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch The Titan, though.
Oh, wow.
I just got a regular showing.
Oh.
Voice acting in this movie was on point. Mm-hmm. Every single person. Mm-hmm. Specifically I don't know her name, but the voice actor for his mom, mm-hmm. Haley Steinfeld, Oscar Isaac. Mm-hmm. They all did really, really good in this movie. Mm-hmm. And then pacing. You mentioned it, and so I kept an eye on it the entire movie. But the pacing for this movie does not drop at any point.
The way when it does too, it drops perfectly.
Yeah,
it doesn't slow down the rest of the movie. They take a lot of time for these character development moments, and they're placed perfectly because they're long moments too.
Yeah.
Like, they really flesh it out, and it's placed in a perfect order throughout the entire movie.
That actually takes me to my next point. This is a longer movie. The way they made it feel, though, like I was okay with it being 2.5 hours. I don't think it was that full time, but that's like how much the show time.
It was like 220 or something.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
it was like nearly 2.5 hours. It felt fine. I did not have an issue. Some movies drag on for a really long time. This was perfect. And then you can tell that they really care with like stuff I'll mention later, but like the addition of certain people, even as like a joke, you can tell that they care.
Yeah. So this movie was obviously produced by Phil Lord, Christopher Miller. They're huge nerds, huge fans of every medium that they have like put their feet into. Feet? Dip their feet into like the water. Is that kind of?
Feet.
Okay, let's chill out here. So they're really, really, really respectful to like the I'm not gonna say canon, but you know, no. Yeah. The fucking comic books and the
Well, I mean, it's not even just the comic book. There's so many like platforms and like medias that Spider-Man is famous on. Every like they went to like even shit that's in our like everyday, which I'll mention later. But
you were talking about the voice actors. For me, I think that the standouts, everybody that you just said, but to add on to that, I think that Brian Tyree Henry, he was always a favorite. And then Jason Schwartzman as the Spot. I really liked him. This might be his best comic book movie because he was also in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and he was Gil or Gideon. There you go. G-Man.
Yeah,
is what they called him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason Schwartzman. Really loved him in this movie.
Yeah. All in all, I'm not going to say the next part. I'll say to the very end of the spoiler review, but I got some more stuff to say. What did you think of the movie?
I really loved it. I think that the art style, because I mentioned this too, that the director, one of the main directors, was Joaquim Dos Santos, and he did the Legend of Korra series. He did a lot of episodes on that, and I think he was able to add a bunch of his intellect with art and different art styles. First of all, the pacing of this movie, like you said and you mentioned, that it was just perfect. For 2 hours and 20 minutes, they put character development spots in the right spots. Get it? In the right spot, and none of it felt like it was too much. It didn't feel excess or anything like that. I think that what they did with Gwen Stacy's character, making her more of a prominent lead in this instead of just the love interest of Miles, they really focused on her story and her universe. The relationship with her dad was something that I didn't think I was going to be super attached to, but I really am. And everything in this movie, the plot makes sense. Like you have, and I'll say this, Spider-Verse is handling the multiverse better than anybody else. They handled it better than Everything Everywhere All at Once. They handling it better than Marvel. Marvel Studios. And they just make everything make sense. Everything down to what Miguel O'Hara is talking about with their situation, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. It just makes sense, and things move linearly in a really smart way. And I think that that's all thanks to Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, because they're fucking geniuses. And the comedy is very sharp. I think that they don't focus too hard on one joke and then just play with that. They like throw in little jokes every now and then like it gets paid off later. So like there's a bit with Spider-Man India. And they foreshadowed it in the very beginning in a fight with Miles Morales and the Spot. So just little stuff like that. It makes me appreciate the movie a lot more. Like I want to go back to the art style. There's like 5 or 6 different art styles that stood out to me. My favorite is Gwen Stacy's universe. This watercolor like pastel kind of. What about you?
2099. And then, this is a spoiler, so I won't say it yet. Are we into spoiler talk?
No.
All right. I don't know. 42? Is that which one it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2099 and 42.
I want to talk about the music also, because you said that the soundtrack was weaker. I think this soundtrack is better than the first one. Yeah. The score is definitely better. I will say that.
Yeah.
The score is amazing. It's one of my favorite scores I've ever listened to. Before we started filming, I was just listening to the Spider-Gwen theme.
You were?
Or Spider-Woman theme. Daniel Pemberton is the person who did the score for this, and he did the score for the first one as well. And I love this. The music, it's just so perfect for every single universe. It's like, it's all different. But there's like a singular theme within all of the music. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I really connected with it. But the soundtrack, I think the soundtrack is better than the first one, except for Sunflower.
Well, yeah, always. That's like the main
Sunflower's
song.
the main song. But yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much all I got for that. I just really enjoyed this movie. I think it's a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. It's getting the playback stamp for me.
Yep, that's our second movie.
Oh, it's a 10 out of 10 for you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that is our second. Hold on. Do I have a sound effect loaded? Shit, hold on. I guess. Yeah, 10 out of 10 for the both of us.
All right.
Yeah, hopefully that works.
We'll change that, hopefully.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed the movie. And I think with that down, there's not really much else to... Well, what makes it a 10 out of 10 for you?
All right, so I was telling... Because I watched this with my friend Trevor, who's already watched it twice. This is his second time watching it. He also agrees 10 out of 10 movie. I like when movies don't harbor on like their first movie too much. Like if it's a second movie, if it's a sequel, they're not like attempting to like...
They're not doing the same thing.
Yeah, discredit or like do the same thing.
And to your point, I watched Into the Spider-Verse again a couple days ago, and I was just like, wow, these don't feel like the same movie. Yeah. Because Into the Spider-Verse is more of an origin story for Miles Morales, obviously. And then they get to the big fight at the end with Kingpin, and like that's it. With this is kind of getting into spoilers, but who fucking cares? It's set up as like Empire Strikes Back kind of deal. All
right. My thing is the overarching like story to me, like the big like points of the story are more like drastic. Mm-hmm. One of the main points is like, no matter how small it is, everything you do has an effect.
Yeah.
Even like as a joke, again, we're just gonna hop into spoilers. Fuck it.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! We're talking about spoilers now.
When he throws the bagel at the doctor or the scientist, he doesn't think it's gonna make that motherfucker the spot.
No, and it's a smart in.
Yeah, and it's a smart way to like, even as a joke, they frame it as a joke. It's still a major point because Miles Morales is not supposed to do that stuff like this. It causes a issue, and then in India he saves the kid and the cop.
The captain.
Yeah, and it causes a whole huge event to happen. It's like that. I like that they involve his theme and everything and make it affect the other Spider-Man.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously we're going into spoilers now, so that's the last warning. We're going to be talking about stuff that we loved, stuff that we didn't really like, but there's not that much for me. That's literally nothing for me.
I legit wrote down for this on my like pro cons list that I do for the non-spoiler, 0 to very little issues.
Yeah.
With like the soundtrack being my biggest issue. But if other people enjoy it, it's just how you like music.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into spoilers now. You were talking about the canon event stuff.
Yes.
Every little thing is like a butterfly effect, and I appreciated that because the way that they lay it out, they throw the seeds out there. They start off with, "Oh, you created me." The Spot is telling Miles, "You created me," and then he throws in little stuff about the spider that bit him in the first movie, and then we get closer to the end. We get towards Miguel O'Hara's universe, and then they tell you even more about the spider. And then that sets you up for the plot twist at the very end. Oh, shit, he's not in the right universe because the spider that bit him is from a different universe. And then it sets up that plot twist, and that's what I thought was so fucking genius about this movie. Let's get right into the plot twist. That's probably the biggest thing. There's no post-credit scenes or anything, so plot twist. What do you think of the plot twist? How do you like that?
I like the idea of it. It makes the most sense. The person who's actually steering him the correct way is his father. His mom wants him to be a good person, and maybe that Earth 42 Miles is a good person, but he's evil. Like he's like how his uncle was. Meanwhile, his dad turned him into a hero. Yeah. So losing his dad, he like loses his moral compass.
Yeah. It's like losing his Uncle Ben. Literally. And so the canon events, things have to happen for a reason. And in Earth 42, where the spider was originally supposed to bite the Miles Morales from Earth 42, accidentally got sucked into our Miles universe, which I think is 1610. Okay, there's a lot of numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
But he was never supposed to become Spider-Man. And that was something that when they said it, I was like, holy shit, that's a really good theme for the movie because, dude, this guy, he's already black. He's already Afro-Latino, right? So he's going up against that. And that's something else. And then they just add in this other thing like, hey, he was never supposed to be Spider-Man anyway. And I feel like that just adds so much to his character. And it makes me root for him even more. I think I'm starting to like Miles Morales a little bit better than Peter Parker. That's just my opinion. But
I mean, yeah, I can see where you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But then that also like that whole he's not supposed to be the Spider-Man adds so much more to the first movie. Because then you look at everything a little bit differently. Because when their Peter Parker dies, because he turned into Spider-Man, and there's no longer a need for two Spider-Men.
Yeah.
Spot like becomes a thing. The whole reactor blowing up, causing this like mass effect to happen. Essentially creating the Spider Society.
Yeah.
Like so much shit happens because of him accidentally getting bit by something that wasn't his fault.
Yeah. And I really like that. I like that for the character, and I like that for the third movie, which is coming out in like 10 months, which is amazing. Let's talk a little bit about Spider-Woman, aka Gwen Stacy. In this movie, she's more of a prominent lead. We talked about that in the non-spoiler part, but I don't know, man. I think that she had a lot to do in this movie, and her character is very strong. So what did you what else did you like about Gwen Stacy and any of the other side characters?
I like the way that this is about to be the way the movie does it, the way that the movie frames the way she thinks. Because you mentioned it, she's drumming and she's thinking over like while she's drumming and playing music, and hers pop up like when she hits the drum, it's like a little memory bubble pops up. I like that a lot. You can tell that she cares for her father the same way that Miles cares for his family, where he wants to tell them, but he knows that like he doesn't think that they'll accept him. And hers is the same way. Difference is she's lost more essentially at this point. She doesn't have a mom. She's lost her like best friend, versus Miles, whose best friend is her. And I don't know, I like her story. I think her story right now is a little bit stronger than Miles, but Miles is building to be the strongest.
And like I think that for Gwen in the first movie, she was more of a foil for Miles' story, and then in this one, Gwen is also a foil, but she has more to do. And, she pushes the plot along a lot more with her decisions. She goes to Miles' universe when she was supposed to just get in, get out to find the spot. But instead, she goes and visits Miles. They're talking. They're hanging out. They're swinging around. What are they, Manhattan? Brooklyn. And they're just swinging around. And she gets distracted. And that's what leads to the Spot getting even more powerful because he was going to Alchemax and was another super collider or something. He was just getting more powerful. And like you were talking about, it's a domino effect. It's a butterfly effect. Every single time they make a choice, something happens, they fuck up. That's a classic Spider-Man theme. Yeah. So. But
it even goes with like the small things that the Spot's saying. Like, I have no choice but to turn to a life of crime because of what Spider-Man did to me.
And like the Spot isn't even really the main villain in this. It's more of a setup to Beyond the Spider-Verse with him being the main villain. But they wrote him in a way where you still care about him and you still care about his journey to becoming a villain and hopefully redemption at the end of Beyond the Spider-Verse. But really, the antagonist is Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, and a good villain, a good antagonist is someone who they're doing like the wrong thing, but we know why they're doing the wrong thing. Like it makes sense, and his whole thing is that he wants to keep the multiverse intact, and he's trying to tell Miles, hey, someone has to die. That's a canon event. Someone has to die, otherwise shit's gonna go wrong. And what do you know? It ends up going wrong. So you said Oscar Isaac was one of your favorite parts?
Yes, just the voice acting. You can tell that like this is a dude who's been through a lot and doesn't care what like they feel. He has to make sure everything goes to plan because of what he's done in the past.
Yeah.
I think it's a way of saving everyone and also saving the other Spider-Man.
Yeah, and plus he's seen a shit ton of like universes collapse and stuff. He's
caused one.
Yeah, he's caused one. And his daughter got fucking eviscerated.
Yeah.
In that instance, so he knows what he's talking about, and I think that the whole like battle between him and Miles was really just about that. You know, trying to get Miles to understand that, but he's of course not gonna understand that because he's a kid and he doesn't want to lose his dad. And I like that conflict.
Yeah, so it's like it's the responsibility versus like being selfish, essentially.
Yeah. Some of my favorite. Go ahead.
There's like a little moment where, because in that fight when they're arguing, he goes, "I can do both."
Yeah.
Gwen also had a moment earlier in the movie where she did that.
Yeah.
Where she was like, you can't save Miles and go save this universe, and then she yells, "I can do both."
Yeah.
I mean, they're all the same. They're all the same person at different stages.
Yeah. One of my favorite additions to it was Spider-Man India. And quick story. So, Free Comic Book Day?
Yeah.
Me and my dad, we used to go, and I think it was like, I was like 6. It was 2006 or something like that. And we went to Free Comic Book Day, local comic book shop in Northern California. And the first comic that I got for Free Comic Book Day was Spider-Man India #1. And that it's a lot different than what they portrayed here. And I personally like the portrayal here. Did you know that guy was Karan? What's his name? Karan Sony.
Oh no, didn't know.
Barar from Jesse.
I was like, because you said Karan, I'm like, that's the only Karan I know. I didn't know that.
No, yeah, it's he's Dopinder from Deadpool.
Oh no, now I can hear it.
Yeah. Anyway, he was one of my favorite parts.
That makes it a lot better.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite parts. I love his universe and his art style a lot. His music was really fun and colorful. His whole like backstory with his girlfriend. It's just really funny. I think he was fucking hilarious. And the whole time he like doesn't have to try in school, but he tries anyway. He doesn't have to do anything to his hair, no product. The chai tea bit, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. Chai.
And then Hobie Brown, the Spider-Punk.
Spider-Punk is the best part of this movie, in my opinion.
Really?
Like best Spider-Man in this movie, in my opinion.
He's a real one for sure. He was the whole time while talking to Miles while they were going through the Spider Society, he was picking off, like tools and stuff so he can make his own wristband. And later in the end, that just foreshadows to the point where Gwen Stacy gets another wristband and brings the whole team back.
Yeah, but the whole like use your full hands. I knew immediately when he said use your full hands. I'm like, oh, this dude's gonna do something like it's gonna help. He's like the good Spider-Man.
His whole thing too was about like standing up to the establishment.
Yeah, legit the whole time he's like, yeah, no, I don't like being on teams.
Yeah, so it makes sense that he's the guy that like persuades Miles to break out of there.
Yeah,
and to do something different. I can't wait to see him back in Beyond the Spider-Verse. We also know that Nicolas Cage's Spider-Man Noir is coming back. Penny Parker, John Mulaney's Spider-Ham. And who else? Jake Johnson's Peter B. Parker. What do you think about him in this movie?
Oh, I know immediately who is by voiced. I think they kind of like dulled his character a little bit, but on purpose, because he's a dad now. He's not the same like reckless Spider-Man he was before.
Reckless?
Not like reckless, but like didn't care. He only cared about like I'll explain it. He wasn't as careful before. But now he's like with his kid and he's running around and stuff. He's more excited to be Spider-Man. I
think in the first one, he was definitely still careful. I think he was just going through depression because of his divorce. And I like the fact that he had a smaller role because that gave more screen time and more stuff to do for Gwen Stacy. But that also just sets him up to be in the next one. And he's going to be a main player because that ending scene, they have their whole little team together.
Don't tell your mom.
Yeah, don't tell your mom. I really liked Mayday in this.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good addition. It makes Peter feel more like another character and not just like a nimwit from the first one. Dimwit.
Yeah,
there you go.
No, yeah, I agree. Let's see. There's gonna be other Spider-Man in this next one.
Yeah. So for me, I think that they were just. This is the craziest that it's gonna be, I think, because all of the Spider-Man that we saw in the Spider Society, just there for cameo and like fan, which is not a bad thing at all.
That was the point I was telling you. I was like, I think they care a lot about the fans. Yeah. So even in the smallest way, they like put in like all these memes, all
Lego
these jokes.
Spider-Man.
The Lego Spider-Man was funny as shit.
Funny, yeah. And did you know that guy who animated that whole thing? He's just a kid who animated like a Spider-Man thing on YouTube, and then the filmmakers got him, and he animated that whole segment in there.
I saw it on TikTok, and then I kept going on Twitter to see if it was real. Mm-hmm. The ice cream Spider-Man is in the chase scene.
Ice cream?
When you go to the truck,
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
the ice cream. Yeah, it's chasing him.
Yeah.
Ben Reilly, Andy Samberg.
Yeah. I like what they did with him.
Yeah, they made him like the super like
the emo guy,
but he's also a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and I like that. Yeah. Some people were saying that they did him dirty. They kind of did, but I mean, like at the same time, it doesn't fucking matter. Like,
there's also the 2099 white suit in one of the flashbacks.
There's literally every single Spider-Man in this. And
then he's even playing the Sony. I think it's the PS4 game. His roommate's playing the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some people said that was a Spider-Man 2 gameplay too, and they just like put it in there just so that you can see it. He's playing a PS5. I love the little references to like the MCU, because it's not connected, but it is in the sense. But like they're just having fun with it is how I see it. So they're they know that the audience isn't stupid. They know that Spider-Man fans who are watching this probably watched No Way Home, so they mentioned the stuff that happened in No Way Home, and they do the little tree branch from Loki, the multiverse branch, to show you like, hey, this is the multiverse. I think that was smart because it doesn't like differentiate too much, and it's an easy way to explain to people, what the fuck is going on. Mm-hmm. What else? Fuck, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something.
All right,
go ahead.
Some of the stuff I mentioned. I like the design of Spider-Punk, and how he kept switching to comic books, like different comic books. Mm-hmm. Like the way he was like, I don't know how to explain it. His color palette,
it was a newspaper.
Kept switching. Yeah,
it was like newspaper clippings.
And then how they obviously all have spider sense, but everybody's was different. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like the same. Like, oh, they get the fucking lines on the side of their head and they like start looking. Some of them weren't getting it. Like they're like, Spider-Punk like was like his guitar started shaking and stuff.
Mm-hmm. The lines started moving.
Or
the strings of it.
Yeah, and then there's like Gwen's. Her eyes like get wider whenever it happens. It's just like little like details where they're not all the same, but they all have like similar powers.
Jessica Drew as Spider-Woman. I feel like we should, shout out Issa Rae. She was good in the movie. She didn't have as big of a role as I thought she was going to, but she's basically Miguel O'Hara's like right hand man. So the fact that she's pregnant is also funny, because I think in the comics, I don't know if you knew this, but like apparently she was pregnant in some of the issues too, which is very funny. Mm-hmm. And there was one part where I think Miles was fighting Jessica Drew, and like he kicks her like in the face, and she goes back. Oh shit! He goes back. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
He goes back into like a bus or something, and webs her up. And I was like, "Fuck, dude, that baby."
Yeah.
It's like shit. Like Miles almost just killed a baby. Anyway, yeah, Jessica Drew, really good in this movie too. She's probably going to be one of the main antagonists in the next one.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just be a guess. I think she's gonna like flip on him.
What do you mean flip on him?
On like 2099.
Honestly, I think everybody's going to be flipping, not on 2099, but flipping on the spot. I feel like Miguel O'Hara is going to be like, you know what? Yeah, you can have both, and then they're going to try to fight the spot, because I think the spot is going to be the one to ultimately kill Miles' dad. Because at the end, the spot was already in Miles' universe 1610, waiting for his dad to get home.
I didn't notice it immediately, but Trevor pointed it out while it was happening, and I'm glad he did, because I wouldn't have seen it. But you know how in India, in like that whatever universe the India one was in, how Miles is being shown the future, but not just his future. like all the futures of all the Spider-Man that were there.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of dead Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And so, I mean, it could happen. It could just like they all decide to jump the spot.
There's a deleted scene. They just came out and said it. I read this a couple hours ago, but a deleted post-credit scene for it, which was it had to do with the Spot going into a bar, and it's a spider bar inside the Spider Society, and it's a fight scene with the Spot versus all of these Spider-Man, and they all die. And that was supposed to be the post-credit scene. And the Spot is like kicking their ass because they make fun of him. They make fun of his face. They make fun of the way he looks, and he just goes fucking berserk on everybody. I want to talk about 2 of the live action cameos you said in the non-spoiler part.
My bad.
The live action. So that was very, very cool to see because I have not seen them do like this hybrid before in a very long time. And so the first universe, the Spot goes. He finds out that his powers can take him to different dimensions, and he pops into the Venomverse. And he sees Mrs. Chen, the Asian lady in the Chinatown store in Eddie Brock's San Francisco, which is cool, you know. I mean, like that's a nice neat little touch. That does not touch anything. What we see next in Spider Society when Miles is walking down and he finds Donald Glover as the Prowler in one of the like prison cages. And I don't know about your theater, both my theaters fucking like they jumped. Not everybody's gonna understand that Donald Glover is like essential into the creation of Miles Morales because that's literally who he was based off of. And do you know the story of that?
No.
So so in 2011, 2012, they were looking for their next Spider-Man, right? For the Amazing Spider-Man, their reboot. Okay. And a huge petition started because Donald Glover was on Community and he wore Spider-Man pajamas. And everybody was like, yo, we need to make Donald Glover the next Spider-Man. And it was a whole fucking petition. It's probably one of the biggest petitions that have ever happened on the internet. And that was like the start of like, you know, the change.org stuff for like stuff like that. Started a huge petition, started a movement basically on getting Donald Glover to be Spider-Man. Obviously, he wasn't Spider-Man. It was Andrew Garfield for the Amazing Spider-Man. But one of the comic writers, the guy who did the Ultimate Spider-Man reboot, Ultimate Spider-Man comic line, which is a really good line, he saw that and was like, we should make an African-American Spider-Man. And they did. And they based off of what Donald Glover was looking like in that Spider-Man stuff. So it's all because he wore Spider-Man PJs on a TV show. And that's why we got Miles Morales, and that's why we have this fucking movie. Which is crazy to think about, in my opinion. Domino effect. Whole butterfly effect.
Everything is connected.
Yeah. So, what else do you want to talk about this movie, man?
I'm so excited for the next one.
Well, okay, so the Prowler thing. I mean, you know, are you thinking that that's from the MCU Prowler?
That's definitely MCU Prowler.
Yeah. I think so too. And
even if you go based off timeline, he was in the end credit scene of the first one.
Yeah, and that's like it's been like,
and he's on the phone with Miles.
Yeah, and it's been like 7 years.
It's been like at the very least 5 years because that's how long the blip was. That's the very least it's been. So yeah, no, he could look like that right now, and he's in full gear, not like starting out like he's building a costume.
Not in how he was in Homecoming.
Did you see the subtle like the thing that I noticed though with that? Because he's in the cage getting put in the go back home machine.
What'd you notice?
He was like 4th or 5th in line, and they were like cranking him out. He got sent back. So that was like I don't know if that was intended because Sony has nothing to do with the MCU, but that was funny. I was like, he's gonna go back to the fucking MCU.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't know that they were even in a line. I thought it was just
it was cranking them out like a line, and that's why like one by one they were getting moved into the go back machine.
So they're starting to, do a little bit of spin-offs on this. They're talking about a Spider-Woman spin-off, primarily focused on, Gwen Stacy's character. I'd be very, very happy with that. If they keep the same art style for this stuff, like I'm so into it. For me, I think that Sony made 3 best Spider-Man movies, like out of all of them. And this is definitely better than anything that Disney has ever made for the Spider-Man character, at least.
Ever made?
Huh?
Ever made?
Ever made? What do you mean?
Just ever made.
You think this is the best Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
What's your top 3 Spider-Man movies?
2. Or no, this one 2.
Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. I'm thinking. 1, then No Way Home. Tied.
So Into the Spider-Verse isn't...
No. Into the Spider-Verse is like a 8 out of 10 for me. It's a really, really, really good movie.
I think it goes Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse for me.
All right.
And I have had Spider-Man 2 at the top for so long. Even when No Way Home came out, I was like, no, Spider-Man 2 is still good, or still much, it's like so much better. So yeah, I think for me, it goes Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and then probably Spider-Man No Way Home, I think.
Yeah. Into the Spider-Verse is probably like 5th place for me. Mm-hmm. Well, I know what the bottom of my list looks like. Fortunately for Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. He's in this movie, by the way, too. I like how they do that.
Yeah.
They put.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Yeah. I like their own subtle references of things that they own. Their Spider-Man version.
Yeah.
Like was Andrew Garfield with Gwen's dad? No. Uh-huh. It's Gwen's dad. Yeah. And then Tobey Maguire with Uncle Ben.
Yeah. We didn't see any Tom Holland cameo in there. I think that's because they're still working out the contract, and they still want to like make him give him his own stuff, because this isn't in association with Marvel Studios at all, but they do mention Doctor Strange and they do mention all that stuff. So they're playing nice right now. It's still a weird little handshake agreement that they have, but they're playing nice, and hopefully in Beyond the Spider-Verse, I want to see all 3 of them again plus Miles. That would be fucking sick. And in animation form or live action, I don't care. It would just be
That'd
really
be a cool way to announce a live action.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get into that, because they're talking about a live action Miles Morales movie now, and it's Sony. It's not MCU.
I was gonna say something about that. I'm glad Sony has this.
I'm glad they have them too.
They've done for the most part of what they could do. They've done Spider-Man, right?
I wouldn't say that.
No, with this.
Oh, with the 2 Across the Spider-Verse movies. Yeah, they do that right. And I think that mostly has to do with Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. Mm-hmm. Amy Pascal and Avi Arad are super, super lucky that they found them. But stuff like Morbius and Venom. Nah.
This like animated Spider-Man.
They are so lucky they have animated Spider-Man on their hands.
That shit is they're doing so good with it though.
Yeah. And again, I think it has to do a lot with Phil Lord, Christopher Miller. I need to see what Kraven looks like. I need to see how that turns out, because that'll tell me what's really going on. They're also making a Hypno Hustler movie starring Donald Glover, which is like, okay, why are you doing that? But the biggest project that they're talking about, they're doing El Muerto with Bad Bunny. So it's very weird what Sony is doing with their live action Spider-Man properties. But the Miles Morales one is probably the most it's probably the biggest live action thing that they're going to do. And I'm glad that they have them.
What were you going to say though? You were like, oh, what do you think? Because there are a lot of people talking, and then you stopped talking because I cut you off. My bad.
I don't remember now.
Was it someone casted, do you think? Like, who are we going to think?
Yeah, who are you? Okay, so for live action Miles Morales, who do you think?
I don't yet.
Look, I don't want them to do anybody big. Do someone small.
I'm fine with, not big. I would rather say I'd not be like one of the 5 recurring young black actors.
Miles Brown, Caleb McLaughlin. Not McLaughlin.
McLaughlin.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, the dude from Stranger Things. Yeah. So I don't want to see that. I want to see someone unknown. I want to see somebody.
They don't have to be unknown, new. But they don't just make it not one of those like 5 that pop up.
I mean, they're pretty small actors compared to anybody else, but like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't think we have to worry about that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't imagine them doing this for the next 5 years.
Doing what?
A live action Miles Morales movie.
Yeah.
So, because they got Beyond the Spider-Verse next year. And they'll be set for a while to plan whatever they want to do.
Oh, it's Sony. They don't plan.
Oh, they should.
Well, yeah, of course they should. But
if they were smart, they could build so much off of this shit.
Want to bet this live action Miles Morales movie is going to come out in the next 3 years, 2026. They're gonna.
I wouldn't doubt it.
They're gonna announce that, hey, we're gonna do a live action Miles Morales movie, and we're going into production right now, and we have Caleb McLaughlin. Come on out, and everybody's gonna be pissed.
I'm fine with them wait. Like, I'd hope they'd wait, because you never know, within the next 5 years, a young, like, upcoming small actor, who can play this, because he starts out at 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they decide to go down he starts off at 16 storyline, could go younger if they wanted to. They could go a little bit older if they wanted to.
Yeah.
We never know. Like, a new actor could pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah. So Spider-Verse, I think it's probably my favorite animated movie of all time. I think it's the best. Like, story, pacing, art, music, it's all perfect to me. And I already said it's a 10 out of 10. I think it's one of the perfect movies that have ever been made. Mm-hmm. People have been complaining that it's like half a movie, like it's not a finished movie, which I think is a lazy argument, because it is a finished movie. Miles goes on a journey, and he finds out that, there's canon events and stuff, and at the end of the movie, he's somewhere completely different than he was at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And so does Gwen, and so does Miguel O'Hara. So everybody has a bookend in this. Of course, it leads up to Beyond the Spider-Verse, but I don't think that this is an unfinished movie at all.
How long has Beyond the Spider-Verse been announced for?
Well, they announced Across the Spider-Verse as a two-parter, so it was going to be part 1 and part 2. But they changed it to Beyond the Spider-Verse because they didn't want to announce the title yet.
Yeah, so but the thing is, like, I was fairly sure everyone knew that this was going to be a to-be-continued movie.
Mm-hmm. So here's the story about it. They were working on the movie very early in the development after Into the Spider-Verse came out. And they were working on it, and they were working on the story, and they're like, how can we fit all of this shit in? And then they found out, like, oh, well, this is not one movie.
Yeah.
Like, we have to put it into two. This story that they're trying to tell. And they were saying that this movie, Across the Spider-Verse, is not a first half of two movies. It's the second part in a trilogy.
Yeah.
And that's when they found out, we need to do another movie. And I'm glad they did, because if they made this like a 3-hour movie, I don't know. I don't know how.
They could have fit 30 more minutes of content, and I don't think that would have been an issue. But if they were like...
Really?
I don't think it would have been that big of an issue.
Oh, I think it would have been a huge issue.
30 more minutes of content?
Yeah, that's a fucking...
3-hour movie, yes, I know.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been an issue.
Oh, you're fucking tripping.
I mean, if they like developed certain characters a little bit more, that's not that big of an issue. It is a perfect movie.
Yeah, but like, okay, that's 30 minutes. That's 30 minutes of content, and we're talking about the pacing is perfect. You have to get everything correct to add 30 more minutes into this.
They could have done that.
No, I disagree with that.
All right.
Like, the last 15 minutes feel like it could end at any moment. Did you not feel that either?
Well, yeah, but that's the way it was designed to be, because they knew they weren't going any longer than that.
All right. 30 minutes, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. What do you think they could have added? No,
I don't, because it was a perfect movie. I'm glad they didn't do it, but they could have. I think if they wanted to, if they really wanted to change the story up a little bit, they could have like taken out certain character development moments and added a different one in. If they added more character development for Spider-Punk, or like more of the focus on the relationship between Gwen and Miles, like just going around the city, stuff like that, or her tracking the spot a little bit more.
I got a question. Do you think that this is a Best Picture nomination?
Yeah,
I think it's
easily.
Best Picture, not animated. This is a lock for animated.
Yeah,
easily.
It's gonna win it. In my opinion, unless like something crazy drops, this will probably win animated.
And I don't think anything else crazy is dropping. Like, I don't think Elemental is gonna be better than this.
Another one of those like Disney movies that makes just like the budget back,
maybe.
And then it's like, oh yeah, I like this movie. Let's watch it on Disney Plus.
I just think Across the Spider-Verse is like not just one of the best animated movies, but it's like a really, really, really good film. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's a lock for a Best Picture nomination. And someone has been saying online, one of the guys that I watch, he's been saying if there are 10 better movies that come out this year than Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, then it's a really good year for movies.
Yeah.
I don't see 10 other movies this year being better than Across the Spider-Verse. Even ones that have come out.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. Obviously, I agree.
Yeah. This is the easily, very, very easily is the best Western animated movie of all time.
Okay. What do you think of...
Where does it rank in like my animation of all time? Best animation? Like top 3. It's up there with some like great movies.
Well, you're saying Western, so what else is on your list? Yeah, which one? You're talking about Studio Ghibli? What?
Yeah, so Princess Mononoke to me is like a perfect movie. Even like the story outside of the movie, like what they had to do to get that movie. And then like this would probably be like number 2, I think, for me. And then Graveyard of the Fireflies is so good.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good.
It's really good. And this is definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, easily. If I'm just ranking like Western animation, it's this one and like Puss in Boots too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Puss in Boots. Yeah. Okay. Well, any closing thoughts on Across the Spider-Verse? I'm very happy.
March 29th, 2024.
Yeah. Real quick. So, if it does get a Best Picture nomination, Oscar season is around February, March. Do you know how much fucking money Beyond the Spider-Verse is gonna make opening weekend if this wins an Oscar? I mean, it's gonna win so fucking. It's gonna win Best Animated for sure. Yeah, and then that's just gonna propel them into that. And we're gonna be moving into movie news soon, and I'll talk about it a little bit. But it's just gonna be making a shit ton of money.
How much what did the last one cap out
at? Like 300, 350.
Already? It's already at that number?
You said the last one.
No, like this one's already at that number compared to that?
No,
like where it's at with this number compared to that's how much total it got? Or is that...
Do y'all know his question? What?
So I'm saying the number that this one's already at is almost that number already. Number 2 is already almost made as much as number 1.
Can you say the titles? Across the Spider-Verse
is made $200 million. And that one's only made 350.
Yes.
That's crazy. Yes. I know that.
I was going to move into that.
I know, but you were like, I'm trying to get it without saying the numbers, and you weren't understanding it.
Put it in the comment section if you understood what the fuck he was saying. Hold on. Okay, because I was going to move into the movie news. But yes, it's made a lot of money, and I think that Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to make a shit ton of money too.
I thought it made way more money than that.
What, the first one?
Yeah. No. Is that like... It's just how much it made minus production, or is that just total how much it made?
That's the total it made. Damn. That's not profit. It's 350, and it costs like $70 million to make.
That's another thing. This movie only cost 100, and then what was the movie that was 200?
Huh?
What movie had 200? $200 million budget.
The motherfucking yeah. I know what you're talking about.
It was the movie we watched last week, wasn't it? Fuck.
What did we watch last week?
It's The Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid was like 150 or something.
Okay, whatever. Regardless, 100 million is crazy.
The profit is going to be insane because I feel like second weekend is going. Let's move into movie news real quick.
All right.
So, we loved Across the Spider-Verse, and it seems like everybody else is also. It's holding a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's from the critics. 97% on the audience score.
Isn't it the highest IMDb movie?
It is the highest rated IMDb movie. It's the highest rated Letterboxd movie, which is very, very, very important.
I know it's pissing people off.
Oh yeah, I know. And it's making money too. It has grossed $200 million already in its opening weekend. That's worldwide, of course. But like we said, the production was 100, straight up 100, and they already made 200. And they have another movie coming out. So it's just going to be bringing in a bunch of fucking money. Did you think it was going to be this big?
I knew it was going to be a good movie, especially with like the fact that, I work at a movie theater. I got to see the numbers beforehand. I didn't think it was going to make that much of it. Yeah. I didn't know that the first one only made that much.
The budget, the marketing for this movie was so well done. Mm-hmm. All the posters, all the little trailers and stuff like that, they didn't show too much, and they hyped up the movie really well because the first one didn't make that much money. It was an amazing movie, but it didn't make that much money. And just writing off that success, it was going to be kind of hard because it's been 5 years since the last one. So I think that this is obvious success, and I think that Sony should just keep doing a lot of animated movies, and they are. 200 million. Where do you think that this is gonna stop at? Because $1 billion.
It's
I don't
like
know,
$1 billion.
but 700 I think would probably be
750.
the sweet spot.
750, 800 probably where I end up at after everything's said and done. So like what? A $600 million profit.
Yeah, this is a very like rewatchable movie too.
Yeah, I walked out and I was like, I'll probably rewatch it sometime this week.
A lot of people have been saying like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this again for sure. And like, it's a good kids movie. It's a good family movie. Not just for kids, but like also the adults. I mean, fuck, like everybody's dressing up and shit to this movie.
The marketing for this movie was definitely directed at kids though, because we got a menu and it was like, hey guys, non-alcoholic drinks only.
Really?
Yeah, all the drinks that we got for the movie were non-alcoholic. Because they're like designed as children's mocktails.
It was non-alcoholic?
Yeah, it's a Shirley Temple and a Blue Lagoon with a non-alcoholic blue curacao.
Wow. Okay. Well,
And then we got like little kid blankets, like with a cape and a hoodie.
yeah. No, this is definitely going to make a lot more money. I think the second week drop-off isn't going to be that bad either.
It's normally for like superhero movies, like a 50% drop-off at the very least that I've seen.
50% is really good.
No, like that's like the best I've seen. That was I forgot what superhero movie it was, but I think it was Guardians of the Galaxy only had a 50% drop off, but it's always usually above that.
Yeah. To answer your like that point too, Quantumania was probably like a 65%, 69%. Remember we talked about it?
Mm-hmm.
So 69% drop off in the second week.
Shazam was a 78.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So Spider-Verse, obvious success. Let's move on to the next one. I got something for you that I didn't put on the show notes. Cocaine Bear, Cocaine Shark. Well, we got another movie called Crackoon coming out this year.
Who's making it?
It's a raccoon. It's a raccoon that does crack. This is coming from the Hollywood Handle, and we have our first poster. I'm going to show you this right now. Crack kills.
Say what you want, but I will be there.
So yeah, Crackoon.
Sharknado.
That's amazing. I haven't watched Cocaine Shark yet. I did watch Cocaine Bear, and I did love it.
Cocaine Shark's out already?
Yeah, Cocaine Shark has been out. And then there's gonna be what's it? Big Shark by Tommy Wiseau. That's
Next
coming out
month.
also. We're getting really bad movies, but like really fun movies.
This is good for us.
Yeah. Let's do a little more research on Crackoon. I
need to hear about this. I didn't know that was a fucking thing.
Yeah.
Are you actually serious? Cocaine Shark came out already?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like a wide release or anything, you know? Okay, here we go. When a synthetically altered street drug is discarded in the woods by a drug dealer during a car chase with the police, the fallout proves nothing less than horrific when an innocent raccoon eats it, transforming it into the nightmarish killing machine straight from the bowels of hell. With unsuspecting campers, tourists, anybody in the proximity to the epicenter of the mountain, no one is safe from the monster's unrelenting rampage. Basically, it's a raccoon on crack. I don't know who's directing this. Some dude named Brad Twigg. Written by Todd Martin, Gary Lee Vincent. Yeah, it's. Oh, dude. Okay, so it's written by someone who also wrote Crocodile, which is a crocodile on crack. If nobody understood that. And that movie is also directed by Brad Twigg and also written by Gary Lee Vincent.
CCU.
Oh, my God.
Cocaine Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. Anyway, that's something that I wanted to bring to your attention.
I will be watching.
Should we go?
What's it on? What's it going to be on?
Caps? It's going to be in theaters, bro. Probably.
It's not going to be at ours. I can tell you that. Like,
all right, let's move on. So, DCU, it's ramping up, and we're getting more news by the day. Comic-Con is coming up in about a month, so we're probably going to get even more news. But we got some news on the new Batman movie set in the DCU, Brave and the Bold, with Jason Todd, right? No, Damian Wayne, and Batman. So it's being directed by the Flash director Andy Muschietti. James Gunn has been very outspoken with how proud he is about the Flash coming out, and how good it is. And he said that it's one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. So I think it's a smart move that they got Andy Muschietti to direct the Batman movie in the DCU. What do you think about it?
I mean, we haven't watched The Flash yet, so I can't really say anything. But
you've watched
It.
Yeah,
I watched it. I was going to say that. So, based on It, did he do part 1 and 2?
Part 1 and 2. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's also doing the live action adaptation of Attack on Titan, which I did not know.
I don't want it. So we'll see how The Flash is. But yeah, so far with it part 1 and 2, I mean, he's gotten a story. I trust James Gunn to like lead if he wants to lead, or he knows who he's picking. James Gunn knows what he wants to do with what he has. So him picking Andy Muschietti would only be a positive thing, really. And especially if he says he's spoken about like The Flash. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that he's more than capable of taking this on.
A lot of people are saying The Flash is really, really good. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of people are just saying that, not just James Gunn. So he did it. He did it Chapter 2. He also did a movie called Mama. Do you remember that movie? It's a horror movie with this little girl.
I never watched it.
No?
I know what you're talking about.
I think I've seen it a couple times maybe, but I remember liking this movie a lot. And he's a good director. I think that it's a smart choice, because if all this hype around The Flash is coming out, it would be very smart to lock him down as a director in your cinematic universe coming up. So
you also draw in the older fans, because like this is the last MCU. Aquaman 2 is the last DC movie, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's smart. You want to lock in some of the older fans to come back. Mm-hmm. You take some of the directors in the movie.
Yeah. If you guys have seen The Flash by this point, if you guys are just rewatching this movie or whatever, or rewatching this episode, let us know what you think about this hire. We got some more news on some live action remakes. I know we love talking about live action remakes on this. How to Train Your Dragon, the remake, is finding its cast members, and they just cast their 2 leads. Hiccup and Astrid were their names, right? Mm-hmm. Mason Thames, who was in The Black Phone, and I think he was really good in that movie. You have some...
I was just joking.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Don't lie.
I looked back at it and I was like, it's not. Again, I don't know what to think of the movie. It's a live action dragon movie.
Okay. And then... Yeah. What?
No, I was like, did I say I don't like it? I don't like it.
And then Nico Parker is playing Astrid in the movie. I've never seen Nico Parker in anything. Mason Thames in The Black Phone. He was really, really good in that. So I'm excited for it. Again, I haven't even seen the How to Train Your Dragon stuff. That's more of you. What do you think of these castings?
I don't know Nico Parker from anything, but I've watched The Black Phone. He's really good. I do think they both look a little older than they were in the first movie. Whenever you watch it, let me know what you think, because I don't know.
I do need to watch these.
It should be fine, especially if like they take their time with the movie, because again, this is a live action dragon movie. I don't know what to expect right now. Mm-hmm. There's so many dragons in the first movie. Like, it's not like they're just gonna have like the one, like toothless. Mm-hmm. There's like a fuck ton of dragons in the first movie, so this is gonna be a big issue if they don't know how to like CGI it correctly.
Yeah, and what's good is that it's the same director who helmed the original trilogy. So he's got some experience with animating dragons and stuff. Maybe not in live action form, but I feel like it'll look decent enough. It can't be worse than anything that Disney has done,
Yeah.
So
that's like it's a low floor, high ceiling thing, though.
Yeah, I mean, like the worst you can do is like Disney stuff. Yeah. And then
the best you can do is like
straight up Avatar kind of like CGI and stuff. So.
But again, I don't think they're gonna go that deep into it. So
yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna be like fucking Detective Pikachu animation.
Picking up Mason Thames though is a really good move. Nico Parker, who was on The Last of Us, apparently. I think she played the daughter.